All right, Cowherd, did John Mara and the Giants do Eli wrong here?
I don't think so. I have this belief system that I believe when you have stars, and they're very rare, you pamper them. If you have to overpay them, you overpay them. If they want private jets, you take care of them. You take care of their family. You pamper them. Back rubs every day because there's so few stars. You're a Pro Bowler, I'm treating you different. But
Did you just offer me a back rub?
But when they erode, push them out quickly because sentimentality and romance is a big part. Let's face it, man. We buy jerseys and name our dogs and our kids. And so pamper stars. Eli has been a shot fighter for 4 years. OBJ is hiding the truth. This guy has an accuracy issue that's worse than Cam Newton.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say they did him wrong. They've paid him a ton of money. He's won 2 Super Bowls. You're right. Last year, he wasn't very good. This year, he hasn't been very good. But I just, again, when you make the move to Geno Smith, it seems baffling to a lot of people. I read a story earlier before the show. You know, Phil Simms got released or benched after leading the team to the playoffs. They went with Dave Brown, a young quarterback, I think from Duke University. And that was a controversial decision. Wellington Mara, the owner at the time, he didn't want to do it, but the general manager did, and the general manager had final say over the roster. So it's always tough. It's hard. These guys make a lot of money, and Eli has had a nice long stretch there.
This is the social media component's big, too. So, like, people are upset, and they go on talk radio, and then it just lives and grows, and it's an avalanche. I mean, if you would have called WFAN radio in New York 6 weeks ago and tried to defend Eli, the host would have said, "You're an idiot. I'm hanging up on you." Now, it feels bad. Sentimentality, they want to grab onto
it.
But
here's the issue that, one, I think we're missing. When you have the resume that Eli Manning has, and it is a great resume, right? It's a borderline Hall of Fame resume. It's 2 Super Bowl MVPs, I believe, or at least 1 Super Bowl MVP. It's 2 world championships. It's all those things. And you let your franchise decay around him and then make him the scapegoat for the decaying franchise. They couldn't block their way out of a wet paper sack. They can't run the ball. And no offense to wide receivers, but you're a dependent position. If you don't dominate line of scrimmage, I can't throw it to you. That's just the way it is. And so I look at it from this standpoint is you did not produce or did not stand up for him. You won't stand up. I mean, as the head coach, you've thrown him under the bus. You've thrown him under the bus multiple times. You won't stand up to OBJ. You know, he can go do whatever he wants. You won't stay. You're afraid to stand up to him, but you'll throw Eli Manning under the bus. Why? Because you know that Eli Manning won't fight back, that he's gonna turn the other cheek.
At the end of his career.
And that's, I mean, bottom line, I think they did it wrong. I think he should finish his career. I think the Giants stink. I think their franchise, I think that the players around him stink. And I think the coach stinks, and I think the general manager stinks.
Nickname stink, by the way.
Yeah.
I agree with you to a certain extent. I just, when I look at this, it's a what have you done for me lately league. And with Eli Manning, regardless of if he has his weapons on the perimeter with Odell and Brandon Marshall and whomever, a running game or not, when you're looking at a borderline, as you put it, a Hall of Fame potential quarterback, can he elevate the team and can he win us ball games? He has not been able to do that.
For years.
So when you look at that and you look at the rest of their division, you have to assess that and put that into play and say, look, we're stagnant and we're moving the opposite direction and everybody else is moving forward. So I don't have a problem with them moving on. What you said about Geno Smith, that's my issue. Who you're taking Eli out for and inserting him into the lineup. I don't like.
Give him a defense on that. And again, I don't like the optics of it. But let's say they really want to see Davis Webb, the rookie, but they don't want him taking the heat and all the conversation that would go on this week. Throw Geno out there, beat up on Geno. He's worthless to you anyway. Davis Webb can come in the third quarter of a game.
Yeah.
And no one's going to blame him for anything. So maybe they're doing the rookie quarterback.
Listen, it's the entertainment business to some degree. Chris Rock had a great line about the music industry and how cutthroat it was. Chris Rock said, in the music industry, it's here today, gone today. That's sports to a large degree. Whitlock, do you think he still has a future as a starting quarterback in this league?
Yeah, one, I don't see Eli as a guy who's banged up in terms of yes, he's older, but I don't see him, I don't think he's had much of an injury history. And so his experience can cover up for his lack of accuracy and some shortcomings he has as an older player. And so I think if you get him in the right situation, if I were the Denver Broncos or the Jacksonville Jaguars or some team that had a bunch of pieces around and just needed some stability at quarterback, yeah, I think Eli Manning is going to play next year. I think he'll be a starting quarterback for somebody next year. And, look, when you look around the league, you look at the Tom Savages and a lot of guys, why not Eli Manning? He's got 2 Super Bowls, and he's relatively healthy for his age.
Here's why not. I'm going to show you a stat. OBJ has been this Band-Aid covering up a sore. Here's Eli Manning the year before OBJ. He was done. Was the O-line that bad then? That's 4 years ago. OBJ arrives, and we're like, oh, Eli's pretty competent. If you take OBJ out of Eli last 4 years, he's got Cam's completion percentage. And we know he's not Cam the athlete, and he can't do the zone read, and he's not as big as strong. I think he's a shot fighter.
He's a guy that performs in January.
Here's my deal. There are 4 quarterbacks maybe that can elevate a franchise. There are 4 guys in this league that you can say, hey, you can throw it 50 times a game, we're going to win. There's 4. There's Aaron Rodgers, there's Tom Brady, there's Drew Brees, and you can throw Roethlisberger in there maybe.
Russell Wilson, you'd have to throw in there.
Okay, he won't throw it 50 times.
Right. But Russell Wilson's got the defense, or has had the defense. But I'll give you that. Russell Wilson, I love Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson's magical, right? All the things that he can do. So 5 guys. Beyond that, everybody needs help. And Eli is in that group of guys that needs help. He'll go into Jacksonville. That Jacksonville Jaguars are a legitimate franchise with unbelievable talent. I'll put that secondary against any secondary in football right now. 3 corners that can flat cover, 2 safeties that can play, the linebacking core that can flat run with Jack and Smith, defensive line and Ngakwe on one side, Calais Campbell, Malik Jackson, they can play. They fixed some of their offensive line issues. Doug Marrone said when I talked to Doug Marrone, I sat down with Doug Marrone, the perfect game plan, 0 passes. You know how many Eli 0 passes he can complete? He can complete all of them, right? Every single one of them. So that to me is an automatic no-brainer. He leaves the New York Giants this year, bam, he's a Jacksonville Jaguar, and they're a playoff team.
Yeah, I agree. There's a saying, one man's trash, another man's treasure. If you take him away from the football giants and you put him, to your point, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team who has everything built around a quarterback position that has not performed, he can have success there. But I don't think he can go anywhere where he has to be the guy. It has to be similar to what his brother did in Denver. Go to an offensive line who's going to make sure he's upright, he can throw the ball down the field, he has a solidified running game, and a defense that can get you more possessions. I think that's the key to his future in this NFL.
He's Joe Flacco. Put a great team around Joe Flacco, you can win a championship.
I think that's a great analogy.
Right? If you have an average team, you're going to go, wow, what happened to Joe Flacco? He can't play. Well, no, he's always been Joe Flacco.
And in the postseason, he lights up.
Yeah,
Joe Flacco does as well. Mm-hmm. And again, Colin, I think he's a guy that can get you through the regular season and not mess it up for you if the other guys around the defense is going to win you games. And then his history has been, once it gets to January, he's a guy that elevates his performance. Once the pressure's at its highest, that is a talent that he still has, I think.
I think he's the NFL's puppy dog.
Right now.
That you just can't pick on him. Manning, he's the more likable Manning brother. He's dealt with some stuff. Again, Jacksonville it's perfect. I would say there's 30 guys in the NFL, not named Bortles, who could win in Jacksonville, because that roster is outrageously good. But
I would say that I don't buy the Denver connection.
I don't either.
Simply because Peyton was there. Peyton was made to take a $4 million pay cut his last year. Didn't really end real well. I don't know that Elway and Peyton Manning have a great, like, hunky-dory. Let's pick out
that pay cut.
I get it, but I don't know that there's a real hunky-dory, let's pick out curtains together type of relationship. So I don't know that that's going to happen.